The 50/30/20 budget rule was designed for a median income American household in 2005. The year 2005. The same year gas averaged $2.30 a gallon, the median home price was $219,000, and the median household income was $46,000. That was 21 years ago. Today, the median home price is $420,000. Rent for a two-bedroom apartment averages $1,800 per month nationally, and in major metro areas runs $2,500 to $3,500. Median household income, adjusted for inflation, has barely moved. And the 50/30/20 rule is still being recommended by every personal finance website, every bank app, every podcast that has not done the math recently. Let's do the math. Because when you run the actual numbers on what housing costs in 2026, the 50/30/20 rule is not just outdated, it is mathematically impossible for a majority of Americans. And trying to follow an impossible rule does not make you bad at budgeting. It just makes you someone following bad advice. Here is what the rule says. 50% of your take-home pay goes to needs: housing, utilities, food, transportation, insurance. 30% goes to wants: dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, travel. 20% goes to savings and debt repayment. On paper, reasonable. In practice, let's see what the needs category actually costs in 2026. Take someone earning $60,000 per year. After federal income tax, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare, their take-home pay is approximately $47,000, call it $3,917 per month. 50% of that is $1,958 for all needs. Now let's see what those needs actually cost. Rent for a modest two-bedroom apartment in most mid-sized American cities runs $1,600 to $2,000. In cities like Austin, Denver, Nashville, or Miami, you're at $2,200 or higher. Let's use $1,700 as a conservative number. That is 43% of take-home pay before utilities, food, or a car. Add utilities, electricity, gas, water, internet, another $200 to $300. Add groceries for a single person, $350 to $450. Add car payment, insurance, and gas for someone who needs a vehicle to commute, $600 to $800. Total needs for one person at $60,000, approximately $2,850 to $3,300 per month. That is 73% to 84% of take-home pay. The rule says it should be 50%. The math does not work. It has not worked for years. And the people who are failing at the 50/30/20 budget are not failing because they lack discipline. They are failing because they are trying to fit 2026 costs into a 2005 framework. The 50/30/20 rule has three fundamental problems beyond just the outdated numbers. Problem 1, it treats all income levels the same. The math works reasonably well if you earn $150,000 per year. At that income, housing might genuinely consume 25 to 30% of take-home, leaving room for the rest of the formula. But at $45,000 or $55,000 or $65,000, the incomes where most Americans actually live, housing alone blows up the entire allocation. The rule is regressive. It fits the people who need budgeting advice the least. Problem 2, it prioritizes wants before savings. The order is 50/30/20. You allocate to wants before you fully fund savings. That psychological framing is backwards. Wants expand to fill available space. If you budget wants at 30%, you will spend at 30%. Meanwhile, savings sits at the end, and it's the first thing cut when the 50% category runs over. Problem 3, it creates guilt without solutions. When someone's housing consumes 45% of income and the rule says it should be 30%, the person feels like a failure. But there is no actionable path in the rule itself for how to fix that. The rule diagnoses the problem and offers no medicine. These three problems explain why surveys consistently show that over 60% of Americans who have tried the 50/30/20 rule abandoned it within 3 months. Now let's talk about what actually works. The most effective budgeting system for most people is not a budget at all, in the traditional sense. It is reverse budgeting, also known as pay yourself first. Here's the concept. On payday, before you see your money, before you have any opportunity to spend it, a predetermined amount is automatically transferred to savings and investment accounts. What remains is yours to spend, guilt-free, however you want. That's it. The entire system. No categories. No tracking every coffee purchase. No guilt when you order takeout. You have already paid your future self. The implementation requires 3 things. First, decide your savings percentage. Start at 10% if you're just getting started. Work toward 20% over time. High performers push 30% or more. Second, automate it completely. Set an automatic transfer on payday to your high-yield savings account, your 401k contribution, your Roth IRA. It leaves before you see it. Third, live on what's left. If your take-home is $3,900 and you automatically move $780, 20%, you have $3,120 to cover rent, food, utilities, entertainment, everything, without any categories or tracking required. The psychological advantage here is enormous. Traditional budgeting creates friction at every spending decision. Reverse budgeting creates friction only once, when you set up the automation, and then removes friction from all future spending decisions. The discipline is structural, not behavioral. For someone earning $50,000 take-home, about $62,000 gross, a 15% automatic savings rate means $7,500 per year invested automatically, without ever consciously deciding to save. Reverse budgeting is ideal for people who are debt-free or in a stable financial position. But if you are in active debt payoff mode, carrying credit card balances, personal loans, or medical debt, you need a different system. You need zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting means every dollar of income has a specific assignment before the month begins. Income minus all assigned expenses equals 0. Not because you have no money, but because every dollar has a job. The process works like this. Write down your monthly take-home income. List every expense and assign a dollar amount: rent, utilities, groceries, minimum debt payments, extra debt payment, and savings. Every category gets a specific number. The total must equal your income exactly. The critical element is that extra debt payment category. Zero-based budgeting forces you to maximize debt payoff by showing you exactly where every dollar is going and making trade-offs visible. When you can see that $240 per month is going to subscriptions, it becomes a concrete choice: keep the subscriptions, or accelerate debt payoff by $240. The budget makes that trade-off undeniable. Use zero-based budgeting until your consumer debt is gone. Then shift to reverse budgeting for wealth-building mode. These two systems serve different phases of the financial journey. A practical tool, You Need a Budget in-app implements zero-based budgeting digitally. It costs $14.99 per month, but studies of its users show an average of $600 saved in the first 2 months. The ROI is strong if you actually use it. Whether you use reverse budgeting or zero-based budgeting, the infrastructure that makes it reliable is the 4-account system. This is the plumbing behind the strategy. Account 1, the income account. This is your primary checking account where your paycheck lands. Nothing else happens here, it is just the collection point. Account 2, the bills account. A separate checking account where all fixed monthly expenses are automatically paid: rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance premiums, subscriptions. Calculate the total of all your fixed bills. Transfer that exact amount to this account on payday via automatic transfer. Bills pay themselves. You never touch this account manually. Account 3, the spending account. This is your daily life debit card. After fixed bills and savings are moved automatically, a set amount transfers here for groceries, gas, dining out, entertainment. This is the account you spend from day to day. When it's empty, the spending stops naturally. No willpower required. The structure enforces the limit. Account 4, the savings account. A high-yield savings account, currently paying 4.5% to 5.0% in 2026, receives automatic transfers for emergency fund building, short-term goals, and any amounts earmarked for investment. Separate from your checking ecosystem entirely, with a small friction barrier that discourages casual withdrawal. This system eliminates the most common budgeting failure: money that sits in one account gets spent, regardless of its intended purpose. The 4 accounts create physical separation that does the work your willpower cannot sustain 30 days a month. Let's run 3 real scenarios so you can find yourself in these numbers. Scenario 1, $45,000 gross salary. Take home approximately $35,800 per year, $2,983 per month. This is the hardest scenario. Housing in a shared or low-cost situation runs $900. Utilities and groceries $450. Transportation $400. That leaves $1,233 for everything else. Savings rate target 10% or $298 per month. This is aggressive at this income. It requires shared housing or rural living. Zero-based budgeting is essential here. No margin for error, but it can be done. Scenario 2, $72,000 gross salary. Take home approximately $55,400 per year, $4,617 per month. More room to work. Housing $1,400. Utilities and groceries $550. Transportation $500. Fixed bills total $2,450. Savings at 15%, $693 per month. Spending account $1,474. This works. Reverse budgeting applies cleanly here. Automate $693 on payday, pay fixed bills from bills account, spend the rest. Scenario 3, $100,000 gross salary. Take home approximately $72,000 per year, $6,000 per month. Housing $1,800. Utilities and groceries $600. Transportation $600. Fixed bills $3,000. Savings at 20%, $1,200 per month, $14,400 per year. Spending $1,800. At this income, the path to building real wealth becomes clear. The 4-account system runs smoothly and savings compound quickly. The pattern across all 3 scenarios is identical: automate savings first, systematize fixed bills second, spend the remainder freely. The difference is the margin, not the method. Here is your action plan for this week. If you are in debt, sit down today and list every debt with its balance, interest rate, and minimum payment. That is your starting inventory. Open an app or use a free zero-based budget template. Assign every dollar of next month's income before the month begins. Find every dollar that can go toward the highest interest debt. If you are debt-free, set up the 4-account system. Open a separate high-yield savings account if you do not have one. Set up 2 checking accounts if your bank allows it, one for bills, one for spending. Create automatic transfers for your savings percentage and your bills total. Do it today, not next payday. For everyone, calculate your real savings rate right now. Take what you saved last month, divide by your take-home pay, multiply by 100. If the number is under 15%, your current system is not working fast enough. A different system is not a luxury, it is the difference between building wealth and staying exactly where you are. The 50/30/20 rule is not a bad idea. It is simply a 2005 idea. And in 2026, you need a budget that matches the economy you actually live in. Word count 1 320 duration 10-minute end card. Video number 23 How to buy a house under $60,000.